Welcome viewers, this is part of the Minister for Men's Behaviour Change series. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to Pro Theologist, Pro Brick Exclusive and Law and Crime Network. Let's see what we got today, guys.
Alyssa Zinger, a 23-year-old grocery store worker dancing on TikTok. She was already in legal trouble, accused of having sex with a junior high school student. Now she's facing more charges, and her parents could also be in trouble. We have the scoop. Thanks for...
Okay, guys, I've known older women, 50, 40, 30, 40, 50, that have gone for younger men. They think it's okay, and that's up to them until they get caught.
Joining me for Crime Fix, I'm Anjanette Levy. Alyssa Zinger is a 23-year-old grocery store worker who was accused of posing as a homeschooled 14-year-old girl so she could have sex with a boy who was between 12 and 15 years old. We first told you about Zinger last December when she was charged with 2 felony counts of lewd or lascivious battery and 5 felony counts of lewd or lascivious molestation. Now Zinger is in the Hillsborough County Jail in Tampa facing even more charges. She's now accused of having sex with 5 boys who are either 13 or 14. Now, this isn't a complete shock because Tampa's police chief had said last year he believed there were more victims out there, and he had called Zinger a predator. The investigation began last October after a girl reported that Zinger had sent a video of her having sex with a boy to her classmates through Snapchat. Police say the boy told them Zinger appeared more mature than the age of 14 that she claimed to be. And now Zinger's parents could also be in legal jeopardy after a detective hinted in court that they may have tried to hinder the investigation. More on that in just a minute. Joining me to discuss this case is somebody who knows a lot about defending people. He's Brian Claypool. He's a trial attorney. Brian, the facts in this case and the allegations are pretty stunning. Alyssa Zinger is actually accused of posing as a 14-year-old girl so she could molest teenage boys.
I can tell you right now, guys, there's old women that are like cougars that are predators, and they sleep with younger men half their age, more, and they boast about it. They think it's a great victory for them, but it's really quite pathetic, to be honest.
Yeah, that's just staggering. I mean, the thing that strikes me the most, too, putting aside, her obvious nefarious behavior, is how was she able to post a profile and pretend to be a 14-year-old? My point being, shouldn't we as a society be looking at these social media platforms like Snapchat? A lot of this was happening on Snapchat, Instagram, and all these other media portals. I mean, there has to be some kind of new law legislated where, for example, the age of anybody that jumps on something like Snapchat has to be verified. That to me was one of the most staggering facts in this case.
Mm-hmm. We do have some really young kids on Snapchat. I mean, that is a good point. And TikTok. That's how she's accused of reaching out to these kids. And then she's also accused of sending a video of other kids having sex to other kids. So she's accused of transmitting child pornography, essentially, that she captured. So there are several things going on here, but we do have kids as young as 12 accessing these apps.
That's a great point. I mean, I have a teenage daughter. I'm a single parent of a teenage daughter. And I have to tell you, the hair on my skin was rising when I found out she was on Snapchat a couple of years ago for the exact reason we're talking about. I pulled her aside and I said, you need to be careful because there could be people chatting with you in Snapchat who are not who they are pretending to be. They might be an older man.
And I'll tell you something right now, viewers, there's people in real life that are pretending to be something that they're not in real life without Snapchat and hiding behind social media platforms.
Who's trying to, get after you or to seduce you. And that's kind of scary as a parent, where you have to talk to your kids about, looking at things like, is this person real or not? Are they who they say? And that's why I think we really need to clamp down on verifying ages of men and women who are over 18 who are having these kind of conversations with minors. That's just awful. And then look, another point I want to make is I do a lot of sexual abuse cases. I represent a lot of victims of sexual abuse, including minors and adult victims of child sexual abuse. And I had a case a couple years ago. I represented 4 boys in the central part of California who were seduced and had sexual relations with a teacher at a school.
And this is important, guys. A lot of the people that do this kind of behavior have been sexually abused, unfortunately.
School. And if you can believe this, one of the school's big arguments in the case was, hey, these are guys. These are young boys. So it's not as bad as a man doing it with a young girl. And I found that argument to be just really irresponsible, because as part of working these cases up, you get a psychological profile of the juveniles. In other words, you have them see what's called a forensic psychologist, and then you drop a report to find out how they've been impacted. And I will tell you, young boys under 18 who are molested by women. It's not a fun game for them when they become adults. They have trust issues. It affects their ability to be in a stable relationship with women when they get older. They view women more they objectify women.
In court said, this is somebody with some developmental issues. She's had anxiety issues over the years. So it wasn't like this is a 22-year-old woman communicating with a teenage boy or, a 12-year-old boy or a 13-year-old boy, a 14-year-old boy, because she's got these developmental issues. The state, on the other hand, says, I don't think so. There are no signs of that in her educational records. What do you have to say about that? Is that a defense attorney basically just trying to represent their client and say, hey, my client's not so bad, and, she has some issues here? Or is that a legitimate defense?
In this circumstance, if I'm representing Alyssa Zinger, I would make that argument. And here's why. And by the way, I'm not defending what she allegedly did, but if I'm representing her and I've got to give a zealous defense, I have seen, for example, her TikTok video. I'm not sure if you saw that. There's one of her dancing in a bathroom. It was filmed in a bathroom, and it looked, my visceral reaction was, this looks like a 13-year-old, not a 22-year-old. That's one example. So I did think, is there something mentally not right with her? And then there was another example where she and one of the boys that she allegedly had a sexual relation with, I think he was 14 or 15, they were caught shoplifting at a Nordstrom store. Zinger's confronted by a police officer, and she lies to a cop and says, here's my name, and I'm 14 years old. Here's my birthday, making her 14 years old. Like, the cops figure it out. That's not her. That's her, but she's not 14. She's in her 20s. My point being, she is that psychotic that she's going to lie to a police officer and think she's not going to get caught. So I think there is some type of argument to make. She needs to undergo a mental health exam, and maybe what her lawyers will argue is a doctrine called diminished capacity, which it doesn't absolve her of the crimes, but it would lead to a lesser crime, because what that means is basically her mental capacity was impaired enough to destroy the intent to sexually molest these young boys, and then she would get charged or convicted of a lesser crime.
Well, guys, I don't know what you think about that, but we'll leave that there. There you go. And this happens through right across communities. It's just like a plague, isn't it? But, these people, they give themselves permission to be able to do this. I've had old women that have boasted about, having sex with younger men. They think it's fantastic. Some of those female shows on TV boast of this kind of thing. So, they're all as bad as one another. But, this 20-something-year-old's taken it too far. She's gone under the legal age, and she'll get got what she deserved. If you haven't subscribed to Pro Theologist and Pro Brick Exclusive, please do so, and the Law and Crime Network. Catch you on the next one, guys.